We like to think our decisions are rational, guided by logic and self-interest. However, incentives constantly steer our choices, shaping what we do and how we think. This program is brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team, as a part of the Economics, Education, and Business Management series. A powerful force beneath the surface is the hidden power of small rewards. Even tiny nudges matter. People respond to incentives without consciously realizing it. Incentives work through loss aversion. The fear of losing is often a stronger motivator than the hope of gaining. They also redirect our focus, prioritizing where we allocate mental energy, a subtle steering of daily routines. However, good incentives can go bad, leading to unintended consequences. If you reward speed, quality suffers. If you reward output, creativity declines. This phenomenon is known as the Cobra effect. The Cobra effect is a cautionary tale. British officials offered a bounty for dead cobras in colonial India. Locals responded by breeding cobras for the reward, causing the cobra population to dramatically increase when the bounty was canceled. Incentives backfire in three ways. Rewarding speed harms quality. Rewarding output reduces creativity. Rewarding compliance makes initiative vanish, as following rules becomes more valuable than solving problems. When we optimize for metrics, not missions, employees chase key performance indicators instead of actual outcomes. This is Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. The key performance indicator trap is evident in the workplace, where employees manipulate data, in education, where students cram just to pass, and in content creation, where depth is sacrificed for algorithmic favor. Often, social factors beat financial incentives. Humans are wired for status, identity, and group acceptance. Social incentives like reputation and recognition often outperform money. People work harder when observed, and the desire for belonging drives behavior more than bonuses. The power of being watched is significant. Even images of eyes can increase pro-social behavior, as we are wired for social accountability. Reputation was, and still is, crucial for social functioning. Incentives can erode ethics. Paying people to do good can reduce their intrinsic motivation. For instance, paying children to read often backfires. Reading becomes work, not pleasure. Incentives shift moral boundaries by crowding out intrinsic motivation, creating moral licensing, where a penalty feels like permission, and transactionalizing ethics into cost-benefit calculations. In the daycare late pickup experiment, introducing a fine for late parents increased lateness. The penalty was treated as a fee, replacing the moral obligation with a simple transaction. Relative rewards matter more than absolute ones. A reward's impact depends on how it compares to what peers receive. Fairness is as important as the reward itself, and perception greatly shapes motivation. The fairness factor shows that comparison drives satisfaction. Inequality breeds resentment, and transparency, while revealing unfairness, can also create problems. Incentives don't just shape behavior, they shape beliefs. Financial interests can shape opinions more powerfully than evidence. We often adopt beliefs that justify our incentives, which is why entire industries can defend ideas that benefit them, even subconsciously. Examples of self-justifying beliefs include a real estate agent genuinely believing now is the time to buy, industries doubting opposing science, and academics defending their career-building theories. Incentives have a self-fulfilling power. They create new behavior. Rewarding confidence creates confident people. We grow into the incentives around us, meaning incentive design shapes identity. Growing into incentives involves an initial behavior change, followed by identity formation as behaviors become habits, and finally belief alignment and lasting transformation as external motivation becomes internal drive. Real-life examples demonstrate the surprising ways incentives can backfire or reshape entire systems. The Wells Fargo account scandal, driven by aggressive sales targets tied to bonuses, resulted in employees illegally opening millions of fake accounts. The lesson is that rewarding the metric instead of the mission leads to gaming the system. Similarly, teacher bonuses based on test scores led to manipulation, with teachers cheating or focusing only on test prep. When the metric became the target, it stopped measuring teaching quality. In organ donation, the default option creates massive changes. Opt-out countries have 98% participation versus 12% in opt-in countries. The incentive is the path of least resistance. Uber's surge pricing is an incentive that works. Increasing fares during peak demand incentivizes more drivers to enter the system, aligning individual self-interest with system needs. Credit card points create an overspending trap. While customers feel they are earning rewards, studies show they spend significantly more than they would otherwise, benefiting the issuer far more than the customer. These stories matter because they are counterintuitive, universal across contexts, and actionable, helping us design better systems and make better personal choices. Now, let's look at principles for designing better incentives. We must align metrics with the mission, consider unintended consequences, and balance multiple measures. Crucially, we must preserve intrinsic motivation and leverage powerful social incentives like reputation and belonging. Good incentive design combines behavioral economics, recognizing we are not perfectly rational, with systems thinking, understanding how individual actions create system-level outcomes through feedback loops and gaming dynamics. These principles apply to personal goals and habit formation. When trying to change your own behavior, you are designing an incentive system for yourself. The best personal incentives align with intrinsic motivation and leverage visible progress. Ask yourself, what incentives am I responding to? Am I optimizing for a metric or a mission? What unintended consequences could result? Am I crowding out intrinsic motivation? How can I leverage social incentives? The deeper insight is that we are not rational actors. We are social creatures shaped by context and responsive to reward structures. Designing good systems requires humility about human nature and attention to how small changes cascade into large effects. Key takeaways are: incentives are everywhere. Beware unintended consequences. Metrics do not equal mission. Social recognition is often stronger than financial rewards. Context matters, and always design thoughtfully.